All right, so that was just a little silly Halloween themed movie I shot on my iPhone, but I used this app. This is Emulsio to do the stabilization. So this video is actually an update to a video I did previously about Emulsio. And in that video, I did more of a how-to. So definitely check that video out as well. But in this video, I will do a quick highlight on some of the key features and also point out some new updates that make this app a lot better. All right, so you just open the app and then it will open your photos library and you can go through and pick out the clip you want to do. And instantly when you open it, it starts to analyze and stabilize. This is one thing I really like, it's very quick. And so now this is that file playing back and it is stabilized. Of course, you can go in too and tweak or refine what it does by default, but if you like that, then you would just simply export it. And this is where the app has had a nice update. Now you have the ability to choose the resolution, the codec, the quality, and this is really important, different bit rates, and this is for video and audio. And so once you pick those settings, you actually do the exporting. Now I'm showing this little bit right here in real time because this exports very quickly as well. And that's it, it's done. And now you get to choose where you want to save that file. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use AirDrop, but you could save it to your phone, save it to another app, lots of options. Once that process is done, then you start over, and that way you import a new clip. And so you'll go through the process again. Now this time you may want to adjust the strength of the stabilization, and you can do that with this slider. Once you get those settings the way you want it, you export that clip. And then you go to the next clip. Now, let's say this clip is really long, which it was, and you only want a part of it. And so with Emulsio, you can go in and trim the clip. And this is non-destructive. It's only trimming the clip in the app. It doesn't affect the original. So you trim it to the way you want it, and then you choose your settings and export that clip. And here's the next one I did. Obviously, I'm playing this back in very fast motion, but you get the idea. And then another cool thing I like about this app is you can put it in comparison mode. And now you can see the original versus the stabilized version. Original on the left, stabilized on the right. And with these clips, it's a little more subtle stabilization, but it's definitely working. Okay, and now here's the original footage. This is just right out of the iPhone, hasn't been touched at all. Kind of a rainy, dreary October day here. Just having some fun with the Halloween decorations my kids put out. And now here are the same shots stabilized, and I turned these black and white just so I could differentiate between the two looks. And now again, the stabilization is fairly subtle here, but when you hold an iPhone, especially using a telephoto lens, you get those little micro bumps, and the stabilization takes those out and can definitely make it look better. And now here they are compared. Stabilized on the left, original on the right. You can see the stabilized pushes in a little bit because when it stabilizes it, it needs a little bit of room to do the work. And that's that. Okay, so everything I just did was on the iPhone. I shot on the iPhone and I used Emulsio on the iPhone. Well, the good thing is this works on an iPad too. And so you can use your iPad with Emulsio, and that way you can also pull in other footage from other cameras. Everything here is a variety of stuff. It's mainly stuff I shot on the iPhone. But if I go to my computer I can grab a file here, and this is something I shot on a Sony camera, a Sony a6400. I can airdrop it to my iPad. And so here that clip is. You can see the clip shaking just a little bit. So what I did was a rack focus on the end of a telephoto lens, and when you're racking, the camera kind of shakes a little bit. And so then we can take this footage, and again, this is higher quality footage than what was shot on the iPhone. And I'm in Emulsio now, importing the clip, and it's analyzing it right away. And it's pretty smooth, it's not perfect. And I could increase the stabilization a little bit. And when you do that, of course, it zooms in. And that's not too bad. This is more of a subtle example, but taking out the little micro bumps is something that can really work well. It doesn't have to be a big bumpy crazy shot. It could just be smaller bumps, and Emulsio and other kind of stabilizers work well doing that too. And so now here is the very cool part about the update. I mentioned it earlier when I was showing the iPhone footage. Now you have the ability to choose different bit rates. So here you can choose standard, low, or high. High is probably pretty good, or you can go in and do custom. In this example though, I'm going to just leave it on high. And then the nice thing is you can go in and you can choose a different resolution. For me, I'm going to stick with 4K UHD. And then you can also do a different codec. You can do H.264 or HEVC, which is H.265. So the previous version of Emulsio, you were only able to go out at a standard bit rate. You didn't have this selection. And so this is really good and can really improve the quality. It'll reduce noise in your stabilized exports. And then you can also choose audio quality and the audio codec. And then you would hit export. And just like on my phone, you can now choose where to send this. I could share it to LumaFusion. I could upload it to Vimeo. I could save it back to my iPad, or I could airdrop it. So it just depends on where you're editing and what you're using this clip for. LumaFusion would be a good idea because LumaFusion does not have stabilization. And so by using Emulsio with LumaFusion, you could have a nice round trip. In this case, I'll just go back to airdrop and I'll go back to my iMac. All right, and one other quick example I want to show is you don't have to just get files out of your Photos library. You can come up here and you can go to the actual Files app within the iPad. So you don't have to just use the photos, which is good. And so here is some footage I have in here already. This again was shot on a Sony camera. I'll trim it. So now I know this clip is in there at least 60 megabits per second. And so I'll choose custom, 60 megabits per second. So I've got 60 megabits a second in there. Now I can export that and airdrop it to my iMac. And so I open this file in QuickTime on my iMac and it confirms it. The data rate is 60.84 megabits per second. And so that worked coming out of Emulsio. And so I do like the improvements Emulsio has made. Being able to choose your video quality, audio quality, file type, and ultimately your bit rate is really important and will allow you to create higher quality files. So if you don't have this app, link in the description to go download it. It is iOS only, and I'm running the free version actually, but there is a paid version as well. And so I do recommend this. I think it's great if you're on an iPad or an iPhone, regardless of the editing app you're using. I like LumaFusion, but if you're using iMovie or KineMaster, whatever you're using, you can export out of that, stabilize here, and then re-import the file. And by using higher bit rates now, your video quality should be much better. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.